The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everybody. Before we get started, I wondered if you can just type a yes in the question box if you can hear us okay. Yes, excellent. Thank you. That's great. Excellent. We'll get started. This morning, or this afternoon rather, I'm Claire Scaramanga and I'm here with my colleague Sarah Moran.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Right. Let us get started. What we're going to be covering this afternoon is we're just going to give you a very brief introduction to ourselves and then start looking at the different social advertising channels that there are and what you can do on those channels. We're going to cover Google Ads and Google remarketing, and then we're going to take you through actually setting up a Facebook campaign. If you have any questions, just type them into the question box and we'll cover those off. Probably at the end, we'll cover those off. Right, so just a little bit about Scaramanga Marketing. We were formed in 2000, so it'll be our 20th anniversary next year. We're a full service agency and we cover a number of different areas, starting with a marketing plan, marketing strategy. We'll work on branding and naming and positioning and messaging, developing integrated campaigns from that. That can include things like content marketing, search engine marketing, social media, email, websites, marketing collateral, advertising, obviously, which is what we're talking about today. We do some PR, quite a lot of advertorial, and we manage everything. We think we're quite good project managers. My background is I started the company in 2000 after working in client side and agency side.
And I have a background in more digital marketing, so I've run campaigns from anything from large global organisations to smaller B2B focused campaigns on a digital scale. So that's my background.
Right, that's enough of the stuff about us. So let's have a little look at the top UK websites.
So here are the kind of top 10 UK websites at the moment. I did this research just yesterday to check that they were all still there. So we've got Google at number 1. There are no surprises there. But as you move down, I was quite surprised that, Reddit's on there. We've got Live, which is Microsoft Office, the Xbox, I believe. So that'll be bringing that up to number 10 there. So I just thought I'd kind of put that out there so that you're all aware of where and who gets the largest volumes of traffic in terms of websites. Let's move on to the next slide. So social media wise, it's grown. You've got LinkedIn there, which has a B2B focus. You've got YouTube, very video, lots of video content. Pinterest, you've got Reddit there, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So those are some of the top players in terms of social media. What kind of advertising can you do? Well, there's lots that you can do. You can do promotions for purchase, a promotion of free resources for lead generation. So that might be something like an ebook or a webinar, such as we're running today. You might then capture people's data, the company they work for, email addresses, names, job titles, all that really important and very relevant information if you want to be following up those leads with a very targeted response. We've got App Store promotion for app sign-ups, and we've got promoting original content for engagement. Content being original is very important, especially for it to be performing well on Google. You've got brand awareness and recognition, event promotion, email messages such as direct mail, and the ability to acquire followers paid for, so you can pay for those follower acquisitions. So I thought I'd give you some stats around Facebook because it's pretty mind-blowing. Worldwide, there are over 2.32 billion monthly active users. There are 1.15 billion mobile daily active users. So anything you do in terms of advertising or promotion, you need to make sure that it works well on mobiles and on tablets as well, because people aren't just sitting behind a desk. they're very mobile, they're on the move, and they're using different devices across these platforms.
Sorry, just to interrupt there, we've just had a question saying someone can't see the presentation. Right, okay. I've obviously got the wrong screen showing. Apologies. Let me switch the screen. Can everyone see that now? Perfect.
Brilliant. Sorry
Okay.
about that little technical glitch there. So the highest traffic occurs midweek between 1 and 3 p.m. So anything you do, it's worth bearing that in mind if you want to focus very much on when there are going to be more people online. On Thursdays and Fridays, engagement is 18% higher. Now, I'm not going to say that's anything to do with people slacking off at work and maybe flicking through Facebook, but let's put it out there just in case. Facebook boosting. So many of you may well have come across, if you manage social channels yourself, the ability to boost a post. Now, this is Facebook's very much quick win in terms of money in their back pocket, because it's very easy to say and send out a little message saying, this post is doing really well. Have you considered boosting it? Here's a free £5 voucher, £10 voucher. Facebook then has your credit card details and will continue to pull through those messages to you to try and get you to spend money. Boosting offers limited targeting options. So in terms of what you can do, if you do an ad properly, you get a lot more for your money if you do some really, really honed in targeting. So there are no custom audiences available for Facebook boosting. And examples of this in terms of what a custom audience might be, it could be website or app traffic, customer lists that you can now upload into Facebook. So if you've got a customer that's maybe purchased something and you consider them to be a potential client or customer for another one of your products, you can target with them with that on Facebook by uploading those lists. There are no lookalike audiences available. Now, a lookalike audience is a really interesting way to target people. So you've got, all your current clients, and what you do is you upload them into Facebook, and Facebook then has algorithms that go out and find individuals and potential customers that look like those people in various ways. It could be age, it could be location, it could be any of those things. But Facebook has algorithms in the background that very much work towards optimizing your campaign to reach those people. Again, boosting only offers those two objectives: website visits and engagement. And you might not want those as your objectives. You might want app downloads or any other whole host of other objectives that you could have as someone who's working in marketing or wants to market their business. It also doesn't give you the ability to have placement options. Now, there are so many placement options across Facebook. You have the Instagram channel, you have the newsfeed, you have instant articles, you have right column and suggested videos. So if you set up a campaign properly in Facebook, it will really work for you, because you can kind of target how and where you're posting those messages. Instagram is obviously now owned by Facebook. I think most of you will know that already. So it's really easy to be able to run campaigns across the two platforms. And Instagram has 1 billion monthly users. 71% of users are under 35. So if you know that your product or service is really, really targeting that kind of younger age demographic, this is perfect. 54% females, 46% males, fairly 50-50, but slightly more aimed towards the females. And there are 25 million businesses on Instagram globally. You can upload photos and videos, and there are 100 million of those uploaded daily. So, huge amounts of content being pushed out via the Instagram channel. Now, hashtags are very interesting because you can use this to showcase your content to the right audience. So an example of this is, I'm going to New York, so I'm following Time Out New York and a fair few of these New York related hashtags, so I can see the cool things to do there, the nice things to eat, the good places to visit that might not be on the standard tourist track. It gives you that ability to curate content under a hashtag and push it out to audiences that are following those hashtags. LinkedIn has 25 million UK users, 44% female, 55% male. It's a B2B sales and networking focus with careers and career opportunities as a key focus of their business. They are, however, looking at the moment, and they're reaching out and trying to do a bit more of that B2B sales work. And it's, you know, they've got products in the pipeline that will focus more on those coming up. There are over 30 million company pages. Company pages are brilliant. So if you have a company and you don't have a company page, set one up. It's very simple to do. A company page is a brilliant place to share content and talk about issues that are relevant within your industry. You could talk about new starters in your company. You could use it as a kind of talking about charities you're working with, and it's a great way to raise the profile of your business in so many different ways. LinkedIn is interesting because you can target on a number of different variables. So all the information that someone inputs into LinkedIn, you can then target them based on. This includes the industry they're in, the qualifications they have, the skills that they have, their job title, their seniority within the business that they're working for, even down to the particular company. If you wanted to specifically target people that only worked at the BBC, you can do that. And you can also target by location. Here's a couple of examples of some LinkedIn ads that appeared on my newsfeed, just so it gives you an idea of what they look like. One I think was very well targeted. So that was the MailChimp one. That's about marketing and an automated system whereby you can push out emails to your database. And the other one was British Gas Business, which potentially wasn't so well targeted because I'm not a buyer of gas on any kind of business level. Again, a couple of examples of LinkedIn in-mails. Now, LinkedIn in-mails are only sent when someone is online. And LinkedIn limit the number of in-mails that people can receive from people they're not connected with. So again, it's quite a good way of engaging with people because generally you get a LinkedIn message, you look at it or read it at some point. And especially if it's very well targeted, it can be an effective way to spread a message, talk about a webinar, promote an ebook, that sort of thing. These two, again, were targeted to me. One was a BMW. I drive, I could be interested in some way. And the other one was, again, not so well targeted. So it was for Warwick Medical School, and they were looking to sell me a master's in public health. Targeting and getting your targeting right is really important. Otherwise, you are just wasting your money and your time. So Twitter can be used to promote your content. You can use promoted accounts to build following on a cost per follower basis. You can have targeted campaigns to reach potential customers and clients. Promoted tweets, again, the pay-per-click model. If you want to push your tweets out to a certain specific audience. Promoted trends, which are very expensive. So we're not talking about a small kind of amount of money for a promoted trend. It's generally used by companies like Sky to promote Game of Thrones, that sort of thing. Twitter audience is interesting. It's lower age demographic, 18 to 34. Although, that's not to say other ages don't use it, but that's their kind of, main audience where they sit in terms of age range. The trending topics are shown in the top left-hand corner, and you can use that hashtag if it's relevant to widen your reach and your message. So down the side here, we've got kind of things like Autism Awareness Week, April Fool's Day. If you can get those hashtags in there, your content will be seen by a bigger audience. Reddit's an interesting one. As you saw earlier, it's kind of coming up the scale of how many people go onto the website. The average user spends 15 minutes on Reddit, which is a long time in the world of, you know, people having like 2-3 minutes here, 2-3 minutes there. Over 6 pages are viewed per visit. It's roughly 68% male, so a lot more men go onto Reddit than women. It's most popular with people aged 25 to 49. And the way that this works is you can advertise through sponsored posts, display adverts, and sponsored questions and answers. You can also, if you're really interested, just put questions in there, engage in different groups, which are called subreddits. Top UK subreddits are soccer, so again, football. That goes with the demographic, 25 to 49, 68% male. World news, and today I learned. So with subreddit, users subscribe to different topics called subreddits. It might be that you're interested in football, but you're interested in rugby, or you're interested in a particular brand of car. You can follow those subreddits, you look them up, and you just follow them. And then you have this kind of curated content stream that you see. Users can contribute to message threads, create ongoing conversations, and focus on a given topic. They then have this content grouped on the landing page. Like I said, it's very curated, and you can post organic and you can pay to sponsor or create adverts if you like. I would suggest if you're looking at trying to use Reddit, you would do a little bit of kind of just seeing what's out there. Is it relevant? Are people talking about the things that you could potentially, you know, engage with them on a basis of a sale or a product with? The minimum cost per click is around 25 pence, so it's very cheap, especially when you compare it to something like a Google, where a Google Ads campaign that could, you know, end up costing you pounds per click. This is pence, so good value. Give it a try, see if it works. The community aspect means there will be more engagement, discussions and comments. It's great because if someone likes a product that you've suggested or a service that you give or offer, it can be a brilliant way to get people talking about it and how much they like it, why they like it, what's great about it, what makes it different. A good way to start would be to comment, post, and share information. Just see what's out there, give it a go, and yeah, see how it goes. The UK website ranking is 9, so it's down the list, but it is so worth giving this a go if you've got something that you think would work. Again, I've just posted a little example of what paid for content looks like on Reddit in terms of a video. That was I think a video promoting QuickBooks. So, you know, large companies are using this because they see it's a cheaper option than Google. And it's, you know, you can really wow people with visuals, video, that kind of thing.
And you can see in the top right-hand corner of that slide, there is an advert for the Sheriff's Office, and that's part of a remarketing campaign that we're running for the Sheriff's Office currently. So we'll cover that off in a bit more detail in a moment, but just wanted to show you how a remarketing can show up in an advert.
So Quora, again, it's not so big in the UK at the moment, but it's still there. It's answers to questions. So people might ask a question, what's the best way to, you know, get a job? And then people can pitch in and give their answers. There are over 200 million unique monthly users with around 12 million UK users on Quora. You can promote your own content and answer questions. So if someone's got a question, for instance, what's the most difficult interview question you've been asked? Then people can then populate that question with their own answers. So it's kind of fun. It's a good way to engage with an audience and establish trust and authenticity. It's got a much lower cost, again, in comparison with Google and Facebook. It's a good place to post organic content. So organic meaning just post it up there. You don't need to sponsor it. You don't need to put any money behind it. You can just answer questions, engage with what people are saying. 60% of the ads are B2B focused, which I found a very interesting stat when I came across it. And it does, again, have a PPC model, meaning pay per click, which means that you would only pay if someone clicked or engaged in your content. Across the side, I've got a sponsored question. So what is IT's biggest pain? And this has been asked by a company called MuleSoft, and they've obviously surveyed some people and they've created a downloadable ebook. So a great data capture for them. It works well. They did a bit of a case study with Quora, and now they're pushing more money towards it because it works for them. Again, here we've got the slide covering where the different social channels sit in terms of whether they're more lifestyle or whether they're more business, and also the age demographics that they cover. Don't worry, these slides will be distributed afterwards, so you'll get this. You can, use it as you like.
Thank you for that, Sarah. So we've mentioned PPC a few times, so just to sort of cover off exactly what that is, it means that every time somebody clicks on your advert, you spend money. The alternative way that some advertising works is pay per impression, which means that every time your advertisement is shown, you pay money. But with the pay per click, it does mean that you are just paying for the people who are interested in your advert. The spend will be based on the budget you set, so you do have full control of that. But it is worth bearing in mind that on pretty much all of the platforms, that if someone else is prepared to bid higher, it works on a sort of auctioning system. If they are paying more, their adverts are likely to appear above yours. And pay-per-click is available rather on all of the platforms we've talked about. So, Google, obviously Google Ads, Facebook, LinkedIn, Reddit, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Quora, Pinterest, and Bing. Although, to be quite honest, Google has the real lion's share of the search engine market. I think Google has around about high 80%, 87, 88% of the search market. So the pros and cons of pay-per-click. Well, some advantages: it's very easy to start and stop a campaign. You do have complete control of how the campaigns run, and it is easy to target different groups of people. And the analytics that they provide are very detailed, so you do have control. You do need to spend the time to manage it and monitor it properly, but you do have a lot of control. But it is important to remember that you do need to control it, because if you forget to switch it off or just let it run, or maybe up it a little bit and then forget to put the daily budget down, it's like leaving a tap running. You could find that your budgets run away with you quite quickly. And you do also need to know how to set up the targeting to make sure that you're reaching the right audience, and then carefully monitoring it. So we would suggest, certainly when we set up a campaign, in the first couple of weeks, we'll be going in there usually on a daily basis and just tweaking it and checking it and making sure everything is running correctly and that it's optimizing for the best spend of your money. And as I mentioned, the final thing to not forget is the fact that there is a lot of competition out there and people might be spending a lot more and getting above you. So if you're finding you're not getting the kind of results you want, have a look at your budget. So Google Ads, everybody will have experienced Google Ads, impossible to get away from them. And I think really the main rationale that you would think of for using Google Ads is about looking at where your customer journey will start. If the first place they're going to go to look for your services is a search engine, then Google Ads are a really good place to do your digital marketing. As I've mentioned, there is a lot of competition on the keywords. So that means you might want to think about using other keywords as well as the obvious ones, and just being quite careful about how you put that. So you might put a keyword in a phrase rather than just having the keyword to hone things down, to tighten up your targeting. As I said, it can be expensive, but you can control that. And you do need to carefully monitor it. And if you're looking for some short-term wins, some lead generation, it can be very effective. We're going to talk about organic content in just a moment, and if you can put effort and time into creating good organic content on your website, that will make you less reliant on having to spend money on Google Ads. So we did a little test. We looked for a marketing consultant near me. That was the search term, and this is just to illustrate that we got some results that weren't actually local to me. So that person is really wasting their money, because we've been quite specific that we want someone local. As I've mentioned, every click costs money, and I think it's very important to think about where the adverts are going, so what the landing page is, don't send your adverts to the home page. I think that's really quite a waste of your time and money. If you don't have a landing page specifically for the product or the service or the promotion that you're looking to put in the ad in place for, then create one. And Google will like the fact that your advert and the page that the user is sent to is very relevant and there's a good connection between the two. That will help with Google ranking your advert as being better. You can read all over the internet lots of different average click-through rates. They do vary. It depends very much what you're selling, what kind of promotion it is. I would suggest that what you want to look at is managing and monitoring your own Google Ads campaigns and working out what your average is, and then making sure that your campaigns are performing to that average or above. I think it's also worth remembering, we're talking about clicks because you are paying for clicks, but just because someone clicked, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are going to become a customer. But that's your job once they've got onto your website, is making the process as easy as possible for them to then convert. As I mentioned, the ideal is that you're using your content on your website to get good search engine optimization, so that you're not so reliant on spending all your money on Google AdWords doing that job for you all the time. I mentioned Google retargeting just a moment ago. So this, if you haven't used this before, this is quite a clever way of keeping in your front of your audience's mind. You do need to have a decent volume of website traffic for this to work. If you're just getting a few hundred visitors a month, it's not going to be effective. It just won't have the reach that you need. So how it works is a visitor comes to your website. Cookies will be collected. Then when they leave your website, they'll then carry on browsing over the internet, looking at other sites, and those sites that accept Google display advertising, your adverts will then show on there. Sarah and I have found many times that shoes particularly, or clothes, or maybe holidays, all of those nice fun browsing activities, they stalk us around the internet, and I'm sure that you will have found that you've been stalked by something you've looked at. And what that is a Google retargeting. It's also called a remarketing, two terms that mean the same thing. And the idea is that your advert is constantly being served up to a person. You set the time period over which it's served, and then the person will click on that in time and come back to your website with obviously, hopefully, the intention that they will then purchase. And here are some examples of some Google retargeting. So the adverts will appear on other websites while somebody's browsing through there. So you can see a number of different adverts there. When you these are graphic adverts, unlike Google Ads, which can just be text, but these are graphic designs, and it is worth spending the time and the effort to get the design having the impact and looking good and really standing out. And you will need to make sure that your designs, as you can see, are lots of different sizes and shapes and formats. So we looked at pay-per-click versus organic content. I've mentioned organic content a few times now, and that's content that you've created yourself and added on your website. And you can see here, this is a report taken in 2016 and 2018 of the US on one hand and the EU and the UK on the other hand, looking at where traffic is coming from. And you can see the blue large block at the bottom is organic and click-through rates, and the red one in the middle is the paid for click-through rates. So that'll be Google Ads or Google remarketing. And I think what comes through quite clearly in this graph is that organic far outperforms any of the paid for advertising. So that does reinforce that if you can get your organic content working really well, that is important. However, it is worth noticing that in both the EU and the US, that over the last 2 years, the amount of paid click-through rates have increased by 50%. So they are definitely growing. So don't ignore them, but also keep an eye on your organic content. And there are some reasons why organic posts perform better. There are 57% of business-to-business marketeers think that SEO, that search engine optimization of the content on your website, has a huge impact on lead generation. and that organic searches have a 14.6% close rate. So that does work very well, and highest spenders are more likely to turn to organic search for information. So the reason why people are more likely to scroll down past the adverts and look for the, as they might think, genuine results is it could be for a number of reasons. They might have a lack of trust in online advertising in general, and they may think that those adverts aren't relevant to their search. There can also be, because this audience tend to be younger, there can also be concerns that their behaviour might be being tracked online, which it quite possibly is, and they might be worried about getting a virus. The people who do click on paid adverts do tend to be older audience. Sometimes they may not even have realised it was an advert, or the advert might have been very well marketed and actually might be very relevant to what their search is, and created some interest, and for that reason that they clicked on it. And good old clickbait, some good catchy titles in your adverts, that never does any harm. So looking at original content, what kind of content works well? I think it's very important that when you're writing content for your website, that you're hoping is going to be including the terms that your audience are looking for, so that your organic results will come up in the search engine. Make sure that what you're writing has got value to the reader, that it's something that's going to interest them. It's what they're looking for, it's relevant to them. If you're quoting any sources of information, make sure that they're well respected. And of course, proofread it. Always very important to proofread it. And I know that we have at least one photographer in the listening in today, and I'm sure she will agree with me that visual resources will make your post stand out so much better. Whether that's photo, video, infographics, whatever. Don't just have plain text. Use good visual material to support your content. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go through how you set up an ad campaign in Facebook.
Right, I do want to remind you all that you are very much welcome to send in your questions as we go through this. We haven't received any questions yet, so please do jot them down and send them through the GoToWebinar software if you have any. So I'm going to run through with you how to set up a Facebook campaign, not boost a post, definitely not boosting the post. So a dog biscuit company have come to us and asked us to run a pilot campaign on Facebook to see how well it works for sales. The dog biscuits are positioned towards the premium end of the market, and they're organic and very healthy for dogs. We've given ourselves a budget of £500, so that's kind of the brief we've been given. So I'm going to run through with you how you set up the campaign. So I think that skipped a little bit too quickly. Bear with me while I just rewind.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm operating that.
There we go. So if you go to create at the top of your Facebook page and then skip down and click on add, and it says advertise your business, brand or organization. We're just going to click on that first of all. And then it's quite data rich, so it's going to take a while to upload the page for you. And then, there we go. So the first thing we do is we're going to create consideration. So we're going to have this campaign optimized towards website traffic. And that's what is the end result. So I want to drive people towards a landing page on the Dog Biscuit website for them to have a look at more detail about biscuits. So I'm going to give this a new name. We're going to call it Dog Biscuits. I think that's a good name. April. Wrong month, but never mind. And so as you scroll through, you've got this ability to look at and create an audience. So this is going to be London focused. So I thought, let's do a trial, see how this Dog Biscuit campaign works within a particular area. I'm going to bring it down slightly in age because I think maybe people who are towards the older end of the spectrum might not have dogs because they might not be so mobile. Now here's interesting. This is where I can put information about demographics. So that means their likes, their interests, their hobbies, their jobs, anything that they've put into Facebook. So I'm looking at people who are interested in dogs and dog food. And Facebook will then continue to recommend, as you scroll through, other people who might want to see this ad. As you can see, dog food, it's suggesting wellness and pet food. So there's lots of things that you can do, and Facebook will help you along the way by suggesting interests and activities and hobbies for you. You know, people with an interest in dog walking, people, you know, there's so much information that Facebook has on you as an individual. It's actually fairly scary. Okay, if we look over here, can you see that all the while I'm inputting this information, my audience size, which is up in the right-hand corner of the screen, is kind of moving, and it's giving me estimated daily reach and estimated link clicks. So that changes dependent on how big your audience is, and you really want any work and any advertising you're doing, you want the arrow to be in that green area, because if it's in the red area, it won't be shown to enough people. And if it's right over the other side in the very broad audience, it just isn't relevant enough because you're just showing it to everyone and you need it to be more targeted. So we've got, you know, 128,000 people who are interested in natural pet food in the London area. That's, you know, there are some really interesting numbers here. So again, down here, instead of, you can either have a daily budget or you can have a lifetime budget. So a daily budget, obviously, it is what it says. It's a, you know, a budget that we use daily. You might want to do £10 a day, £5 a day, £100 a day. And then you've got also the opportunity to set a lifetime budget. So you might want to spend £500 in a month or £1,000 in 3 months. You have the ability with Facebook to set those budgets, and you will not be billed more than that amount. So it's worth, you know, thinking about. If you want to do a trial, you might want to just do 2-3 weeks and then set a budget for that to see how it performs. Right, so the lifetime budget here I'm setting is £500, and I think I'm going to run this campaign for around a month. Now, this is interesting. These are the different options you have in terms of optimization for ad delivery. Now, you can optimize your ad delivery for impressions, which is great if you're running a brand awareness campaign. But I'm not running a brand awareness campaign. I really want people to visit the website and buy the product. That is my end result that will make me happy. So I'm going to optimize this ad for delivery to link clicks. So that means people clicking and visiting the Dog Biscuit website. You see that? When you get charged, I want to be charged for a link click. It's very important that you get these things right, because otherwise your campaign won't run as effectively as you might hope it will. Continue. So here I'm given the options of what I'd like to have as my advert graphic or image. You can create as many ad graphics and images and posts as you like. I think for this one, I set up 2. So you upload an image. So here we go. I've found a really nice image of a dog looking really happy with a couple of biscuits. And it's going to take a while for that now to upload. You can crop the image there. You've got the ability to just go in. It's very easy to set up. Facebook has made it so easy for people to be able to do this. So whatever you do, please don't waste those boosted posts, because it's not going to work for you. Or it might work, but this can work so much better. Facebook also has stock images, so you can type in what you're looking for and it will come up with a bunch of images that could be relevant for your campaign. So I think I type in dog up here and it gives me loads of cute dogs. Again, any images you're using, it's worth bearing in mind whether they have a particular copyright and making sure that you've got the permission of whoever's produced the image before you go ahead and use it in your campaign.
And you can, of course, use your own images as well.
Of course, if you've got a dog, that would be brilliant. I don't have a dog, I have a cat. So there we go. You've got your advert there. And and I've got a couple of different images I'm using. And now you're going to be looking at copy. So what text would you like to run with your image? So I've just kind of put something fairly generic in there. Does your dog deserve a healthy treat? With a question mark. So you're kind of drawing someone in with a bit of a question. You've got your call to action button there. So as you can see, there's a
Oh, sorry.
sorry, we've skipped forward.
User error.
We've skipped forward a little bit too quickly there. If you can just forward it.
Yeah.
So what I was talking there was about, again, how easy Facebook makes this, because you have all the call to actions there. Call to actions being, you know, what you want people to do. Just there, and you can select the one that works best for your ad campaign. So it might be learn more, buy now, get offer, download app. You just basically click and then choose the one that would work best for your campaign. Yep, so you've got sign up if you're running a course, get a quote if you're offering kind of a product that someone might want to quote for, like a new window. And the website URL, again, is very important. Make sure that that is the correct URL, taking them to the landing page that you've created for this campaign, because we're all going to make sure that we've got great optimized landing pages for our campaigns from now onwards. And I paste that again through there into my display link option. So that displays the URL just to the side of the, or just to the bottom of the cute dog. And then you've got your news feed link description. And I put something like, in April, we're offering 20% off dog biscuits, as my kind of drawing people in piece of copy. And sorry, my typing's very slow here. And then the best thing to do when you've finished all of this is to go back up and check how it looks across the different platforms that your ad's going to be running. So I haven't selected a particular platform, it's going across all. So it's going to go kind of sponsored posts, newsfeed, Instagram, Facebook stories, and you can just check here how it looks across all those different variants that are offered by Facebook. So I think this one's a Facebook story. So I think that looks cute. I think that looks cool. That's how it will look on Instagram. You don't need an Instagram account to run an ad on Instagram. Just wanted to make that clear. And yeah, that's kind of how to set up a Facebook campaign that will hopefully work for your business. After you've finished your campaign, what happens is it doesn't go live straight away, even if you want it to go live straight away, because Facebook has obviously people checking in the background that it's all okay and you're not promoting anything that they don't allow. So that you know that can take anything from 10 minutes to a few hours, but generally it will be a same day response that they will go, yes, your ad's been accepted for this campaign. And any changes you make will then have to go through that same process. So if you're constantly changing, then you'll constantly be going through those Facebook validation and requirement processes. This is interesting because this is where all of your data about how your campaign performance is running. So your demographics, you know, it might be that some images resonate more with women, and you will see that here because it will go, you know, 78% women, and you know that shows you that certain images and colors and wording resonates with a particular gender. It might be that certain images are better with a different age group. It's a really good indicator of your ongoing strategy in terms of what you plan to do on social. If you know that certain images and words work better with certain demographics, you can then have campaigns that are all tailored towards those demographics. Okay. And obviously I don't have any activity here, so it's not telling me anything, but that's where everything will populate and where all that information will appear.
Oh, So that is the end of that section of the webinar. So we're open to any questions. If you have any questions or you'd like to know anything, just please type them in the questions box, and we will answer those.
Okay, so the first questions come through. Do I need to set up an Ads Manager account to run a Facebook ad? As you can see, no, you don't. I've just run one off of my own personal account. You can have Business Manager, which means if you're an agency like we are, you then have all your agency client accounts in one place, but you can easily just run them off your own account, but you will need to have access to the pages that you want to advertise on.
Any more questions? Don't be shy.
Do any of you currently run Facebook ads? And type the answer in, and you can let me know if they've also been. Is it best to run A/B test ad campaigns or separate campaigns? So Facebook has a number of ways you can do this. So Facebook has the option of setting up basically a bunch of images. So you have maybe like 5 images, 5 pieces of copy, 5 calls to action. And what Facebook will then do is they will trial them all. So they'll run kind of campaigns with different variants, and it will optimize and use the algorithms in the background to push out the ones that work best with the demographics that you're targeting, if that makes sense. So if they know that buy now is better than get offer, they will run the buy now more, and then they will also use the demographic data that they have. If they know that buy more is better for women aged 23 to 44, they'll push that out to that demographic. It's the way that advertising is going, and the way that it's been going for some time, and I know that you probably all know this, it's becoming extremely personal and very, very targeted, which is brilliant from an agency perspective, because it means that we get to kind of do all this planning and interesting creative work and work with different platforms to see what works. But it's also really good for the end user, because it means that what they're receiving is an experience that's very tailored and bespoke to them.
And that's not just true of Facebook, that's true of pretty much all of them. I mean, yeah. Certainly if you're running any Google Ads campaigns, then yes, have several different variants of your wording and your messages and your calls to action, and Google will work through and will serve the one that works best. Any other questions? No? Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us for the webinar. We will ensure that you all have the slides, and it would be great if you could take some time to fill out the feedback at the end of the webinar that should appear, because that's really valuable to us. It means that we can hopefully run some more webinars that will be good for you guys too. So if there's anything you want us to run a webinar on, please make sure that we get that information. And yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Right. Goodbye. Oh, thank you. Okay. Thought that was another question coming through. It's just a comment.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.